moving, sir.
I met you on the sidewalk.
All right. Good morning. Will be another minute. We're coming in.
So John, you're on time today, so you were
Yeah.
the job.
Amazing.
By the way, I've only not been on time once in this month.
But
Wait,
you should know.
What's the rule? Just whatever minute you go to, you have every turn.
Hello.
But the rule is.
Morning, you got. How are you?
No, the month that he
Baruch Hashem. Good to
see
see
you.
you. Good to see you.
You gotta be careful. You know,
Right, I know.
Today's the latest day and then start comparing tomorrow.
Is 6:22? I'm probably pretty close to that.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, tomorrow we're gonna start the early.
For me, it's 5 o'clock. I don't have my phone on before the cloud starts.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Get the top. Is it on or
Where's the rest of the time?
you're coming? Casting. All right. Good morning. Today is Daf. I think it's Samach Beis. Oh, yeah, Maseches Baba Kama. So we're towards the end of the sixth parak, Parak HaKoines. So, we talked to yesterday about the different cases of when one said, "Okay, I'll take responsibility for barley," and then they go ahead and they put wheat there, and then something happens to the wheat. So they only basically took responsibility for the barley, and we had a couple different scenarios. But you always, in those cases, you always paid for the barley. So we got a few lines down. I think we got to Amar Rava, probably around 10 lines from the top on Samach Beis and Aleph. And away we go. Amar Rava Hanoisein Dinar Zov Leisha the Amar La Hazirabai. So one goes ahead. He gives a dinar zov to a woman, and he says, "Please be careful." Hiziribo shel zavhu. He gives her in an envelope, closed package. Here, please watch on to the silver coin, right? Silver coin, I have no idea what's worth nowadays. Let's say it's an ounce. I don't know, is it $40 or whatever, $30? Who knows? I have no idea. And it turns out it was gold. All right. Hiziba Shokasahu. His key. So if she goes ahead and she's mazik it, she's like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw it away. Now, if she does it, she's negligent in it. Mishalemes dinar zav. She goes ahead and she puts it in a dinar zav. So she has to go ahead and put a dinar zav. It has to be gold. So over here, the guy gave her gold. He said, "Here is silver." Okay. So it was with gold, it's an ounce of gold. It was $2,000. She couldn't see it. She had no idea. She thought it was silver. Threw it in the garbage. Okay, I'll watch it. She figured, I'd rather just give him $40 than pay for it. So she threw it away. So she pays dinar zav. She pays the higher amount. Why? Damarlah, my havide gabe das kise. Right? So he says, what did I do to you that you should go ahead and damage it? In other words, you were purposely damaged it. So therefore, you're responsible for purposely damaging it. However, Pasha, but she was just negligent. She left it out, and then it was taken. Then she goes ahead and pays the silver amount, the lower amount, Damarla, because she could say to him, "Nitirasa the kasva kibali alai, nitirasa the havo like kibali alai." I accepted upon myself to watch silver. I did not accept upon myself to watch gold. So therefore, she didn't go ahead and was actively mazik throw it away. She was negligent. So therefore, she was negligent in her mind was something that was $40, not $2,000. So therefore, she only pays the 40. So awesome with the Rava Masnisalo. You guys learn your halacha from that which Rava stated just now. However, actually, we learned this from the Bryce that we actually saw yesterday. Well, what's the example? A guy goes ahead, and let's say it's wheat and it's covered with barley, so it looks like a big pile of barley, right? Which costs less than wheat. Or sarin v'chibim v'chitin, ein l'mashalim el demei sarin bilvad. Or if it was barley and it appeared like wheat, he only pays for the barley. Alma, what do you see from there? Amala, terasa desar kibalai, because she could say over there in that case, look, I only allowed you to go ahead and it looked like barley. So therefore, I thought I was watching barley. So therefore, and then she was negligent. So therefore, she goes ahead and pays for the barley. So too in this case, you can apply the same halach over there. That when she was told it was silver, it's no different than her seeing it looked like a big pile of barley, and she pays a lower price than the barley. So it's over here. Her mind was, okay, I'm accepting responsibility for silver, and therefore she only pays for silver, not the gold. And Amarav, Shmat Milei to Rabbi Yehuda. I heard a matter from Rabbi Yehuda Shmech, and I wasn't exactly sure what it was. Amar Shmuel, Lo Yada Abba Mai Shmilei. And he says, said Shmuel back to Rav, so he referred to him as Abba, right? So whether that was a father or his actual name, in other words, we refer to him as like a way of showing honor of covetim. Right? So that which, according to Rabbi Yehuda, says one is chayiv for something which is hidden in fire. So we had a machlokes earlier between the Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda, based from our Mishnah. And that normally, so the pasuk reads that something which is hidden in a haystack, and there's a fire destroys it, so you're not required for something which is hidden inside. But according to Rabbi Yehuda, there are case scenarios where one would be responsible for something hidden inside. So that which Rabbi Yehuda says, one is chayiv for damages and something that was hidden in a haystack. Astu takanas nigzal be'esha. They went over here and they said they applied the takanas nigzal in this case. What's takanas nigzal? So takanas nigzal is a person has something stolen from him. So we don't know how much it was, right? So a person can make a shvua. If something was stolen from him, he can make a shvua d'Rabbanan, right? He can make a shvua what was taken and then go ahead and collect. That's called takanas nigzal, right? So we say in that case, so how do you know what was in the haystack, right? It was all destroyed. So therefore, the same way that a person can go ahead, according to Rabbi Yehuda, can collect that which was hidden in the haystack. We don't know how much it is. He can make an oath. He can make a shvua what was destroyed. It's the same way, like someone who has something stolen from his house. So Meimar asks the question: Asu takanas nigzal b'maser olo? Do we make a takanas nigzal in a case of a person who was master on somebody else or not? Now, what does that mean? Second. So a person, let's say, goes ahead and he reports, he masters on somebody to the authorities, right? Which was he was prohibited from doing so, and causes a loss to a person. So how much is loss? So do we say that the person can go ahead and make a shvua and what was loss? Do we have this takanas nigzal in a case of master or lo? So liba demand loy dainin and dina degarmi loy tiboy lecha. All right, the Masaras Naviloi Dainina, right? According to the opinion who holds that a person who just causes damage, indirectly causes that you're not high for damages. So therefore, a person who's master on somebody else actually did not actively cause some damages. He caused damages. So therefore, certainly according to that opinion, that person is pater. Ella, rather, who he asks to according to the opinion that says, oh no, that we do go ahead and we look into causation that does cause liability. So in that case, also takanas nigzal b'maser the mishtav v'shakel. Can a person go ahead and make a shvua in that case? Hey, he makes an oath as to what his damages were from the person master him v'shakel, and then he can collect that. Although, or do we not allow him to make that shvua? So the Gemara does not give a teretz. So I will gather the kasbas the chavre and shadya benara. So the person who went ahead and he took someone's money box, he took his wallet and he threw it in the river. So asam Amar. So the owner's hand, he says, Hachi v'hachi havili begava. So I had X amount in my wallet. So Yasser Ravashi become ayin. So Ravashi, this case is brought before him. So he looked into the matter. Become ayin be ki hai gavna mai. So what's the halach in this case? Amalei Ravin Ravacha berei the Rava. So it says Ravin to Ravacha berei the Rava. Some say it was Ravacha berei the Rava Ravashi. So he said Ravashi lav hainu mas nisan. Is this not our Mishnah? What's our Mishnah? That's now we learn our Mishnah. Modim chacham the Rabbi Yehuda the Malik is Abira. Chachamim agree to Rabbi Yehuda that if one goes ahead and let's say burns down a house, right? Shemashalin kol vashem seicha, right? You can't go ahead and say, oh, hey, just like we in a haystack, something, right? I didn't know it was in the haystack. It's tamun, it's hidden. So too, anything behind the closed doors in the house, I'm potter from. No, that's not true because people keep items in their household. So therefore, there's expected to be stuff in the house. So therefore, in this case, so we say over there that you're mashalim kol masha b'seicha. Shekain derech b'nei adam lahaniach b'matim, because it's the normal way of people to leave stuff in the house. So therefore, a person claims this was in my house, therefore you pay me. So too, in the case of the wallet, this was the cash that was in my wallet, and therefore you go ahead and you pay me. So Amalei, you're right. If the guy was claiming money, there was X amount, $120 or $17, or whatever he wants to say, you're right. That would be the case. The as well over here, In our case, they call it toin marganisa. He had his wallet. He said, I had a diamond or a pearl. I had a stone in my wallet that I was keeping it there, and then you threw it in the river. Now you caused me a large loss. So my inish magnisa bekasva. So low. Does a person go ahead and right? Does a person go ahead and leave a pearl or a jewel right in his money box or his wallet or whatever it is or not? So that's the question is, even though it's a little bit abnormal, so take it that the Gemara does not give it to us.
The takeout man.
So Amarle, Rav Yemer Rav Ashi, around I don't know 7 lines from the bottom. Amarle Rav Yemer Rav Ashi, Toin Kasa de Kaspa, the Bira. Person says he destroyed his house. He says, you know what? I had this silver goblet, very expensive silver goblet in the house. So what do we say in this case? Can the person make a claim that he had the silver goblet there or not? So we go ahead and see. If it's a type of person, a very wealthy individual who has, fine silver and fine items, and he would be the type to have a very fancy silver goblet that he should pay. Or he's a person who's very trustworthy that could say, look, I was a shomer for somebody else, and he deposited his $100,000 goblet by me, and therefore, such a person, if he's such a honest person, that people would do that. So therefore, mishtava v'shavi, you can go ahead and make a shua that this is in the house, and then go ahead and collect from the damager. Below, but if not, if the person's not such an individual, lav kol kamini, he can't just go ahead and make any sort of claim, something that's not believable. So Amalei Rav Adel Bereder Rav Avi Rav Ashi. So my ben Gazlan Chamson. Speaking of causing damages and stealing, so what's the difference between a Gazlan and a Chamson? So Amalei Chamson Yayiv Demei, Gazlan lo Yayiv Demei. A Chamson, right? A Chamson is almost like an extortioner. So he gives money. He basically says, you're going to take this dollar and you're going to sell me that 12-pack of beer. Okay, and the guy flexes his muscles and he does. Gazlan lo yayiv demei. But however, Gazlan doesn't go ahead and pay for it. He steals the bears. Amalei. I understand if he gives him money, you call him a chamson. V'amar Rav Huna. So Talia v'zavin zivine, right? Atuluya v'zavin zivine zvine. All right, person goes ahead and he grabs someone by the collar, hangs him upside down, says, "Hey, you're going to sell it to me." The guy says, "Fine, right? I'll sell it to you." So the sale is a valid sale. So on one hand, it's a valid sale. Then you just called him a chamson, an extortioner. So which one is it? So like kasha, one, he says, you know what? I'm happy to sell it to you. Even though, yes, he was forced, right? There was a situation where he was sort of, had his, arm bent, literally. But he says, I'll sell it. So then, such a case is zvine, then it would be a valid sale. However, if he never says, I'll sell it to you, the guy just throws the money and takes the item, then that is called a chamson. Fine. Turn the page. Top of the page. Now Mishnah. Mishnah says, Gates shiyatza mitachas hapatish. A spark flew out. The person was hammering away as a blacksmith, and a spark flew out, and it set fire to a haystack. It caused damage. One is chayiv in such a case. Now, next case, which that Gemara does not discuss that case. Right? That was negligence. That's expected to happen, and therefore he should have been more careful. Therefore, he's chayiv. However, we've seen this earlier also. A camel, let's say, had a large load of pishtin, of flax on his back. His cross is going through the public way. And it was so overstuffed on his back that as he was walking by storefronts, it was like protruding inside.
If the person's tired for things that happen ipso facto, is going to work. A hammer is always going to have a spark.
Right. So a person should be careful. So since it's always going to have a spark, he should be aware that he shouldn't go ahead and do it around it. Now, something which is an expected outcome, he should have been careful for. So therefore, that's considered to be negligence. So in this case over here, where the flax is, and he walks by a store, and part of the flax sticks inside the store. The dalku b'nei and the storekeeper, he had candles inside, and it lit from the candles, and burned down the entire structure. Baal Gamal Chai. The owner of the camel is Chai because he overstuffed his camel that caused the flax to go inside the store, and he had no right to do that. However, if the storekeeper had his candle outside, and the animal walked by and it set it ablaze, then the storekeeper is chayiv for leaving his candle on the shizarab. However, Rabbi Yehuda ben Ner Chanukah pater. But if it was an Ner Chanukah, in other words, it was a reason why he put outside, i.e., to do the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah, he put that outside, and then the Chanukah candles, right, the caught blaze. Then the store owner is pater because he had a right to put it out there because of Ner Chanukah. So Amar Avina Mishmei the Rabba Shma Mina with Rabbi Yehuda. We can learn from here that according to Rabbi Yehuda, Ner Chanukah mitzvah l'nicha b'sech asara. You should go ahead and place it within 10 tefachim of the ground. Why? These because if you can go ahead and put it higher up, why would he say he's pater? You say, look, you're allowed to put it at any height outside. Put it above a height where it's normal for camels to walk with loads in the public way. Put it higher than where the loads would be. So therefore, since you do not do that, you should be chayav. But it says he's pater, so it must be that he's not allowed to go ahead and put it that high. You must go ahead and place it within 10 tefachim of the ground. Somebody said, no. I'll tell you, really, one can even go ahead and put it on top. If that's the case, so why do we force the person to go ahead and put it higher in order that it won't cause potential damage? It's okay, since it's a mitzvah to go ahead and do it, we're not going to matriach the person to go ahead to such extent to do the mitzvah in such a way. So therefore, even though if he did that, right, it's still a mitzvah, that was the mitzvah counts, we don't force him to go ahead and go to such lengths to go ahead and put it that high, and therefore that's the reason still why he's pater. But he's not going
to do the mitzvah that way.
Right. If he caused it, then people, right, it'll be too difficult.
Is it possible tomorrow that when you're coming to a situation, you have to be aware what's already present that you might cause damage to?
Well, by damages, so one, Mr. Haskell, one should anticipate the normal outcome. In other words, so you're putting a candle outside, right? If no camels walk by, then nothing happens, right? No harm, no foul, right? But one should expect that it's a public way, and therefore I'm putting out a hazard in the public, and there's people that walk by with loads that are flammable, right? So yes, one should be ma'ayin and see potential, especially when it comes to liability.
The requirement of concrete candles is to put them in your house. So what are we talking
Well,
about?
it was not necessarily put in your house. I mean, the requirement really is for Persumanisa, right? So normally Persumanisa is outside, right? But when in a time where we were persecuted, so it became the Persumanisa for the household. So therefore, the Persumanisa of the household became the mitzvah inside the house for the house members, which is why we light inside, right? Which is interesting. In Yerushalayim, everyone lights outside. In Bnei Brak, everyone lights inside.
Nowadays, this Gemara would apply in Eretz Yisrael.
Well, certain places, I said, right? So certain places in Yerushalayim they light outside, but in Bnei Brak and other places, right, the Chazon Ish lit inside, and therefore they all light inside. And Rabbi Yashiv, them lit outside. So it's different where they light. But certainly here in America, right, when we light inside, the Persumanisa is inside. So one maybe but technically, if one would light outside, it would still be a mitzvah of outside. Therefore, you should be pater. In other words, not usher outside. And Amar Kana Dorish Amnasa Bar Menyumin Mishvei Deritanchum Ner Chanukah Shanicha Lamal Mesimama. However, you place it above 20 amos, then it's no good. Why? Kasukah Ukamavli, right? Just like the halachas of Sukkah Mavli, right? One's schach cannot be higher than 20 amos, and also one's mavli for a person to carry, you should be able to sort of be in his eyesight, so it looks like it's not like a public way. And those can't be above 20 amos. So too, a Ner Chanukah should also not be above 20 amos. Hajalach HaKones. Mazel tov. All right.
Harmony too.
Yeah, Maruba midas tashlumi kefel midas tashlumi arba b'chamisha. So now we begin Perek Maruba. So greater is the midah tashlumi kefel. Now one goes ahead and steals, right, behind someone's back, theft, right? He steals, right? He sneaks in someone's house, steals an item, and gets caught. He has to go ahead, not just return the object. He pays kefel, pays double. And there's another halacha. There's tashlumi arba b'chamisha. One goes ahead and takes some sort of sheep or goat and he steals it, and then he slaughters it and sells its meat, he pays 4 times the amount. And if he does it with a bull, that is 5 times the amount. Special Xeris Akassim, right? So there's more times, right? There's more applications of the halacha of Tashlumi Kefel than the application of Tashlumi Arba V'Chamisha. How so? Shemidas Tashlumi Kefel nohegas bein b'davar sheish bo ruchai v'bein b'davar sheish bo ruchai. Right, that the midah, the nature of paying kefil applies to whether it's alive. I steal someone's animal, I steal his dog, and then I go ahead and you got it. 1 second. You got.
Sorry.
No.
Put me on pause.
Oh, good. So now, when it comes to paying double, right, it applies whether I steal a dog or I steal someone's hammer. However, but the payment of 4 or 5 times, right? It's only with an ox or a sheep. Only those. As the passage says, right? A person goes ahead and he steals an ox or a sheep and he slaughters it and he sells it. So specifically those 2 cases. And also, now, if Avrami goes ahead and steals from John, right, and then John is upset, he got stolen, and then I get the last knife, I steal from Avrami, and then the item gets caught by me, I do not pay kefil in that case. I don't pay double, right? And also, if I would steal it, if it was an animal, I stole it from Avrami, and I shechted and sold the meat, so too, if I go ahead and steal it from Avrami, since kefil doesn't apply, so too Arba v'Chamisha also would not apply if I go ahead and steal it from a thief.
Why, what is the decider relating to?
We have to steal from the psukim. In other words, you have to steal from the person who owns it from Reyehu and not Hagoyim Mehaganav. So it's a Xeris custom.
You're saying where it's Arba v'Chamisha versus the kefil?
Well, Arba Chamisha is a specific case. If I steal an animal and I shecht it, then I have to pay. If it's a sheep, I have to pay 4 times the amount. If it's a bull or a cow, whatever, I pay 5 times the amount. That's it.
Kefil comes in when?
Kefil is any case I steal. Any case I steal, I pay double.
Even in an animate object?
Yes, anything I steal. Now, Zok the Gemara of Ilum Midas Tashlumi Kefil no Heges Bein Beganav Bein Betoy Time It's Ganav Midas Tashumi Arba V'Chamisha Ein no Heges El Beganav Bilvad Lo Ketani. Right, it's a long sentence over here. So in other words, it does not say what's another difference. Now there's another example where we'll soon see the psukim. And the Torah says in the case of Ganav, it says he has to pay double. And then the next pasuk says, let's say I'm going ahead and I'm a shamer, I'm watching an item. I'm watching Randy's item, and then Randy says, okay, I'm back in town, you can give it back. I said, oh, it was stolen. So I make a shvuah. Says that Randy's dog was stolen from me, right? And I was watching it, it was stolen, sorry, I'm putter. And then all of a sudden, next week, they find the animal by me, right? So they find the animal, so I tried to steal it in a different way, right? I was given it with permission, and then I lied about it. The cover-up said it was someone else stole it. Really, I was the one who kept it. I have to pay kefil in that case, okay? Now, in that case, it's a machlokas, in that case, whether I go ahead and pay, let's say I would have taken it, let's say it was a sheep, right? I would have shechted it and sold it, right? So if I would have to pay kefil, then maybe in such a case, I would have to pay 4 times the amount, right? If I said it was stolen, and truth was, I was the one who stole it, then I shechted and sold it. So that doesn't say anything, right? Our mission does not mention that it applies in the case of a tinus ganav. So Lokatani, so Masaile, this should be a proof. One who goes ahead and claims, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I can't return the object to you because it was stolen." Mishalin Tashlum Kefel. Then it turns out it was by him; he has to pay double. And if he was the one who was Tabach Umachar, and then if he shechted it or sold it, Mishalin Tashlum Arba Chamisha, right? Then I would have to go ahead and pay 4 or 5 times the amount. In other words, because our mission didn't say that it only applies to kefil, not the other, 4 or 5 mashma does apply because the mission didn't say if 4 or 5 doesn't count in this case. So it's mashma that if it was a sheep or an ox and I did that, I would have to pay 4 or 5. And Ikadami, some of a slightly different version.
Paying kefil.
Yeah.
Who keeps the item? Is it?
I think you return the item, and then you pay the value of it on top.
One time or 2?
No, one time. So it's a total double. So if the item was, I stole $100 baseball card, I give the baseball card back and pay $100. So Leva Masaila, they have a different version, slightly different version of what we just said. Ikadami Leva Masaila, then Rav Chia bar Abba, Damar Rav Chia bar Abba, Rav Yechon, Hatoyin Tanis Ganav, Bikado, the person goes ahead, and I was watching John's sheep, and he says, okay, give my sheep back. I said it was stolen. So Bikado Misham Tashumi Kefel, turns out it was in my yard, so I have to go ahead and pay double. And Tabach Umachar, and then if I went ahead instead of, right, and I shechted it first and I sold its meat, I have to go ahead and pay 4 or 5 times the amount. So Lochar, our Mishnah is a support for that because it doesn't say it doesn't apply. The Gemara says, Mikatani, Ein Bain. Does our Mishnah say these are the only comparisons between Kefel and Arba V'Chamisha? It doesn't say Ein Bain. There is no other difference between these two. In other words, it's a full list. Meruba Katani, Tana V'Shayir. In other words, it just says this. There's more times where Kefel applies than Arba V'Chamisha. And here's one example, but there could be other examples, such as maybe Arba V'Chamisha doesn't apply by a Tainus Ganav, but it would apply, but Kefel would apply in such a case. So now let's get to this halach. Shemidas Tashuni Kefel, no, I guess we say the paying double applies to any object, whether inanimate or not. So Menani Miliv, when you notice the Torah button, the pasuk says Al Kol Davar Pesha. So it says for any matter over there. It says the pasuk is over here on the side. I'm just going to read the pasuk. I'll call Davar Pesha, Al Shor, Al Chamor, Al Seh, Al Salma, I'll call Aveda. Anything that was lost, Asher Yaimar Kiyuzeh. Right? And he says, oh no, all these items, there was lost, there was stolen, and then all of a sudden, right? Elohim Yavo Advar Shneim Asher Yershiyun Elohim Yishalim Shnayim L'Reyu. It says it there, and they went to the judges. They said, turns out this item, whether it was the animal or the clothing, whatever was mentioned in that pasuk, was found by him. He has to go ahead and pay double Yishalim Shnayim to his friend. So that's the pasuk. Now it says Al Kol Davar Pesha, cloud. That's it. Al Kol Davar Pesha, any object, right? For any bad thing, that's a generalization. That's a cloud. Al Shora Chamor El Sev El Salma Prat. And then names specific items. First it says any item. Al Kol Davar Pesha. And then it says specifically, right, an ox, a donkey, a sheep, right, clothing. And then it says that's a prat, and then it says al kol aveda. Then once again it gives chazav and then it gives another generalization of any matter that was lost. So it gives another cloud. So cloud prat to cloud. This is a cloud prat to cloud. And how does that work? Yatadan elokein prat. You basically make it a generalization, but specific to one part of the specification. And what is that? Ma pramafurish davar hamatal to v'gufa mamon. Just like the objects, these 4 objects that were listed were movable objects. The gufo mamo, and it has intrinsic value. So too, I would have to go ahead and pay double on anything that is movable, the gufo mamo, and is intrinsically worth money. So what would that exclude? Yatsu karkos, right? Let's say it was referring to land, right? If you stole land, right? We have to get into that case, how you steal land. Sheina Metalton, because those are not movable. Yatsu Avadim, or servants, right? Shehukshal Karkos. We have a comparison in other cases that an avid is just like land, and therefore since there's no kefil by land, there's no kefil by Avadim, and Yatsu Shtaros, also a document. She'afal Pisha Metalton, even though it's movable, and Gufon Mamon, but it itself is not worth money. So Yatsu Hektish, also Hektish, and also this will exclude Hektish, something that was set aside for the Mikdash. Because this is Reo Kasi, because it says his fellow man. So the Gemara says, "Eat ma pramafurish davar she'nevilas matami magum masa." I've called davar she'nevilas matami magum masa. But if that's the case, if we're talking about these animals that were listed, right? These are animals. Those animals, when they're dead, right? They are a source of tuma. They're nevela armatava magum masa. They have a severe level of tuma. About ophos, but if I steal a bird. A dead bird does not have the same level. It's not mitami b'mago masa, right? But ophos, right, low. So, but bird is not. So therefore, maybe if I steal a bird, I won't have to pay kefil.
Why is that? They're both dead animals.
Right, but they're halakha, the xeris akasa, in terms of only animals and not birds. So Mar says, how can you actually have this claim to say that, only things that are mitame are those things you pay kefil for, right? Right? It says clothing, right? So clothing is not something that, if it's dead, is matami. So therefore, you can't go ahead and talk about items that are whether they're matame while they're dead. That can't be a difference maker in this case. So we'll continue here tomorrow because now it's a whole tomorrow's things a little shorter. So tomorrow Hashem, we'll go ahead and continue here. Let's see, my base looks a little longer, but all right. So tomorrow we'll continue. Everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.